everyone, I hope y'all are having a great day, and today I'll be reviewing Alex Approximately by Jenn Bennett. First things first, ignore this cover. It literally has so little to do with the book. I mean, it's not an ugly cover by any means. It's just absolutely useless when you're trying to find out anything about the story. Alex Approximately is kind of a loose retelling or a rendition of You've Got Mail, where we have our two leads meet online. In this case, it's direct messages on an online film forum for film geeks. And then these two leads also unknowingly meet in real life. Our protagonist is a girl named Bailey who moves from the East Coast to California, and in this small beach town in California is where her father lives, but also is where her online friend Alex lives. But instead of telling him that she moved to his hometown, she keeps it to herself and she tries to find Alex on her own. Meanwhile, she's also working at this tourist museum, and there's a co-worker there named Porter who's very infuriating but also very charming. And this book follows the relationship between Bailey and Porter, as well as Bailey's decision to come clean to Alex or not. Is this book original? No, not really. You've Got Mail has been redone a million times, and it never gets less infuriating in its retelling because every time you know the dramatic irony is still there. You know that the online lovers and the real life lovers are the same people, but for the love of all that is good in the world, the main character can never figure it out until the very last moment. But anyway, where was I? Originality. Yeah, so not all that original, but for this book that doesn't really matter to me. This book was so addicting. Literally within reading the very first chapter, I did not want to put this book down. And that's entirely because of Jenn Bennett's writing. Her voice is so strong in this book. The narration is extremely chatty and fun and easy to read. But boiling down Jenn Bennett's writing style to one word is definitely chatty. It's a very, very chatty book. Our main character is Bailey, who is a pretty okay protagonist for most of the time, but she can be a little pretentious at times. And she's also kind of like the worst detective ever. She can be a little self-involved, but I mean, she's a teenage girl. That's not really a crime. Speaking of being a teenage girl though, Bailey's hormones are a little wild and she's very aware of them. So, you know, this is young adult, but I can see it being categorized as borderline new adult. So just in case there are any young readers out there wondering about the maturity level for this book, I would pass. But Bailey is also very relatable. She's a very layered character, and she also has a very big defensive streak. This book is just so easy to read. It just flies by. The plot chugs along at a pretty quick pace. The writing flows well. The setting is very fun, very vibrant. There is a ton of humor, and our characters are relatively well sketched and also relatively diverse. Porter, our love interest, is half Polynesian. Bailey's dad's girlfriend is Latina. To my memory, I think we actually have a handful of Latinx characters in the city in general. There are also disabled characters. Bailey's new best friend is Nigerian, well, like British Nigerian. So it was nice to see that. Our leads, Bailey and Porter, are a lot of fun, and they have such great chemistry together. There are so many scenes with them where I was just dying of the cuteness overload. For the first 3/4 of this book, I want to say, I loved this book so much. I saw myself finishing it and immediately recommending it to so many people and just gushing in my video review for it. But then I hit the last quarter of this book and I wanted to rip its pages out. Until that point, the plot was fast-paced and it was exciting and it was reasonable. And then we hit that last quarter and suddenly all logic and rationality was thrown out the window. Jenn Bennett dumps so much unnecessary, unmotivated drama near the end of this book. It honestly felt like she was just adding drama for the sake of having drama. I say this because when we got to that last quarter of the book, the characters' motivations were suddenly so flimsy, so nonsensical, and we were stuck. We were stuck in this place of fabricated tension. There was so much melodrama, Lord would be jealous. And even though I was like obsessed with this book for the first 3/4, that last quarter was bad enough that it tainted my reading experience. Like it taints my memory of this book. I was just so disappointed by how much I disliked the last quarter, because up until that point, I was loving this book. Alex Approximately is a really, really fun read, and it's super entertaining, don't get me wrong, but it's also a very surface level kind of enjoyment. There's not much nuance or creative insight or critical thought to any topic that's brought up. There are surprisingly heavy topics that are brought up throughout this book, but none of them are that deeply explored. Actually, in some instances, these heavy topics are actually treated kind of poorly. An example of this is a character who suffers from drug abuse, and instead of this person being treated humanely and, you know, properly assessing his mental health and trying to get him professional treatment, this character is actually painted as an antagonist, and he's made out to be like this demon of a human. And that demonization of someone who's suffering from a problem like drug abuse, or just the demonization of anybody who's suffering from that kind of issue or that kind of illness. That really, really rubs me the wrong way. So because of that, and also just the last quarter of this book in general, I do have reservations about this book. I cannot wholeheartedly recommend this book to you guys, but I cannot deny that I loved the first 75% of this book. So if this book does sound like something you would enjoy, I would suggest giving it a read because I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's super entertaining. I think Jenn Bennett is a pretty good writer, but I guess Alex Approximately is just one of those summer reads that are really fun and really nice when you're reading them, but just don't think too hard about it. The highlights of this book are definitely the chattiness of Jenn Bennett's writing style and also the explosion of cute that comes with Bailey and Porter. But that's all I have to say about Alex Approximately by Jenn Bennett. So if you've read this book, please let me know your thoughts in the comments. I would really love to hear them. Thanks so much for watching. I hope y'all have a fantastic day and happy reading. Bye!